Fani Willis, okay. So this is ridiculous. She should have been taken off the Trump conspiracy case already. I mean, there's no doubt there's misbehavior here all day long. There's no doubt about it. Now, the judge who has to make the decision, and we understand that the closing argument is going to be Friday, the decision will be made next week. He's running for re-election in Fulton County, and it's a black county. And he boots Fani, and what do you think? So Fani might survive this because of politics once again. But Fani and her boyfriend, this is so crazy. Nathan Wade, who has no experience, but she appointed him to investigate the conspiracy charges against Trump and 18 others. I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. The whole thing is absurd. Here's what the governor of Georgia said on News Nation. Go.
Well, I got to be careful about what I say here because I was subpoenaed by Fani Willis and the special grand jury. But it's hard to believe that a process that I think many people, including myself, believe is very political, regardless of the merits behind the case, has gotten even more political now because of her actions and those of Mr. Wade and others.
All right, keep in mind that the governor could fire Fani Willis. Let's keep that in mind. He might be subpoenaed. He might have testified. Whatever, he'd fire. I'm the governor. Fani's on vacation with her boyfriend. That's where she is right now. Okay, so an interesting part of this case has been underreported, but not by Just the News, which is an internet operation, and I hope you're familiar with it. That's John Solomon. I've been on his show. He's been on my show. And so apparently, Fani sent Nathan to the White House twice, and maybe Fani herself went to the White House. So what's that all about? Press has ignored it totally, but Just the News has filed a Freedom of Information Act to find out what that was all about, and John Solomon joins us now from Washington, D.C. So I have that right? Is that what you did?
You did. We filed a lawsuit this week with the help of the America First Legal nonprofit law firm. And our goal is to get all communications between Fani Willis's office and the White House regarding this prosecution. And the reason we have, there's strong reason to believe that there were these White House contacts. Why? Because there are billing records where Nathan Wade and his team bill for two meetings, one apparently in Washington at the White House, one in Augusta, Georgia, right, where the Masters golf course is often held. And there is no explanation for what it is. And then in a ancillary court hearing, they revealed that there were at least two documents of communications between the Biden White House and Fani Willis regarding the case. So we put a Freedom of Information Act request in. They came back and said, we don't have anything. And we said, well, you said in court you had something. You have billing records. So we're going to court now to force the disclosure of these records. And it's important because this fact pattern that we have here is still a little vague. But if we can get to the document, it matches exactly what happened in the Jack Smith case. If you remember about a year ago, I think you, Bill, and I, we talked about this. There is a moment where the Biden White House counsel tells the National Archives, sic the FBI on Donald Trump over these classified documents. There's a very specific memo. It says, please give the evidence to the FBI. That initiates the FBI investigation that ultimately becomes the Jack Smith prosecutor. In all my years in Washington, I can't remember a time where a sitting White House, a sitting president, asked a federal agency to go report their chief political rival to the FBI to get an investigation started. So we already have that in fact and evidence, and now we've got these unusual White House contacts with a local prosecutor pursuing their chief political rival.
Okay. The White House, as you know, keeps logs of everybody who comes in and who they visit and how long they stay. Is that part of the FOIA request? Because then you could get Nathan, was he there? Who did he see?
The Biden White House makes those logs available publicly. The names do not show up. So the assumption we have is that these meetings were not in the White House. They could be outside the White House. Clearly, a meeting in Augusta, Georgia is a long way from the White House. So the operating assumption we have from the facts that we have in evidence right now is that maybe these meetings were off campus somewhere where the Secret Service logs do not cover them.
We don't know if anybody from Fani Willis's office actually went into the White House. But the guy billed the state of Georgia for a trip to D.C., But how did we get White House out of that? Did he say, I met with White House officials?
Yeah, it's marked as a White House meeting. That's what it's marked
Wow.
as. And then there's a separate one as a meeting in Augusta, Georgia. So we're
with
trying
White
to
House
pursue both of
officials
those.
there? With White House
He uses the term White House. Yeah, he uses the term White House. So
that wasn't
we'll find out what that means.
That wasn't very smart of him.
Yeah, it wasn't. Well, after watching him on the stand, there's a lot of indiscretions that this man is going to be answering for, I think. Yeah. One of the most important things is that in a court question and answer moment, they do acknowledge that they have two documents from the Biden White House. They didn't describe them further other than to say that there are two documents that came or were derived from the Biden White House. That's part of our lawsuit. We want those documents. We want anything having to do with setting up these meetings, what was discussed in the meeting, what the follow-up with the meeting is.
Why would a low-level guy like that be meeting with a White House official about what? So that's a big story. And, of course, I don't know of anybody but you that's really aggressively pursuing it, right?
Not yet. No. I hope others follow us.
I don't think Fox News has done it. And that brings me to Fatima Graves. Now, I told Ted Cruz and a bunch of other senators and congresspeople that the wife of Matthew Graves, the U.S. attorney in Washington, D.C., who was in charge of Hunter Biden's initial investigation and wouldn't take it, wouldn't do anything about it, has gone to the White House more than 20 times. Now, from my investigation, some of that had to do with Kamala Harris. Because apparently Fatima Graves is a buddy of Kamala Harris, but she went there, and we don't know why. Why would the wife of a U.S. attorney involved in the Hunter Biden investigation go over to the White House more than 20 times? So I'd like you guys to get on that story.
We are. After we talked earlier this week, I've got two reporters now on that. We have some Freedom of Information Act requests we've sent to the Justice Department. FOIA, White House is exempt from FOIA, but we're working through the logs to see what other things happened around the time of these meetings, to see if there's some topical meetings that are going on. Is it Hunter Biden? Does Hunter Biden's lawyers come in around the time? We are deep in a dive on that, and we will stay on that. That is a great lead that we got from you, Bill.
I appreciate that, John. I wish I could do it, but I don't have the staff that you have, and I'm not in D.C. Last question. How long does it usually take for the FOIA requests to be adjudicated finally? How long does it take?
In federal court, it can be years. I have FOIA still pending from 18 and 19 that I'm litigating right now.
Wow.
In state law, like Georgia's a very favorable open records law. And so we could theoretically see a resolution to this in the next 3 to 6 months, certainly before the election and probably before the summer. We feel very optimistic that we can get initial information discovery and the original documents out. That may result in more FOIAs, more discovery, but we think this will be wrapped up by the summer.
All right, John. Thanks very much. We appreciate it. Keep us posted on all fronts. And
will do, Bill. Thank you.
Sorting through your expense tracking, estimated payments, and all those tax deductions can be overwhelming. It might even lead to a failure to file and failure to pay penalties that pile up on your tax debt. The attorneys at Tax Network USA have been lifesavers for many. Their team has successfully saved clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you're in the hole for $10,000 or starting at a $10 million debt, they are ready to help you. The expert attorneys and tax professionals at Tax Network USA are equipped to secure the best settlement for you and help you resolve all tax cases. So please go to tnusa.com/bill, or you can call 1-800-245-6000. These tax debt relief programs are expected to change, so get to them now. Visit tnusa.com/bill or call 800-245-6000. Tell them O'Reilly sent you. Okay, let's go to Mexico. So Mexico is a narco state. What does that mean? It is run by criminals. Now, the President Obrador is a far-left socialist guy. And he came in and said, you know what, we're not going to really confront these cartels. We're going to give them hugs. Okay, remember that statement? Well, big cartels were just thrilled with that. And they spread money around, big money, to Mexico City elected officials and to the military. So right now in Mexico, it's run top to bottom by the drug cartels. Obrador doesn't really have much power. Okay? Enter the United States. We do nothing about this. Nothing. Trump at least confronted Obrador on a couple of fronts, which is why he got the troops, Mexican troops, on the northern border and the border with Guatemala in the south. But Biden doesn't do it. All right? He's the three amigos, you know, Justin up there in Canada, him and Obrador. Meanwhile, thousands and thousands of people dying, hundreds of thousands. If you add up the ODs in America and all the murders and disappearances in Mexico, it's probably in the millions. They're dying. All right. So what do we do as individual Americans? Many of us travel to Mexico. Why would you do that? I'm never going to Mexico again in my life, ever, because of what that country is doing to America. Okay? I'm just not going. Even on a work basis, I don't think I'm going to go. All right? If I had to go to China and Russia from work, I'd go. All right? If I had to go to Iran on work, I'd go. Mexico, I think I would say no. That's how angry I am at this Obrador government. Now, I don't know whether Obrador is taking money or not, but I know the people around him are. And so does our government. They know. So thousands, estimated 100,000 kids on spring break are going to Mexico. And there is a State Department warning, okay? In the state of Quintana Roo, which is Cancun, as well on the Pacific side, Acapulco, the State Department is warning it's dangerous. And these kids are going down there anyway. What is wrong with the parents here? And if you have, I get a lot of emails, well, I'm on a cruise and the cruise stops all right, I understand. If it's a cruise and it's a one day, okay. And you're going to other places. I got it. Cruise ships shouldn't be going there. Okay? Cruise ships are anti-American if they're even stopping there. Now, a few years ago, I went down to Cabo, all right, on the Pacific coast. And I was on a Men of Adventure trip, but I was working, really, undercover. And the military was all over the place. The checkpoints in Cabo, San Lucas, they were all over the place. Gone now. They're not there anymore, okay? And last night on News Nation, which is really emerging as your best source of information, if you're watching nightly cable news, News Nation is better, is giving you a wider perspective than the others. This Mexico topic came up. Roll it.
What is it to say that the Mexican government has now lost control of the one area that they had put off limits for the cartels?
Really what it's to say is that Obrador has no control over the military. I mean, just a few weeks ago, there was an article that came out that he was repurposing the military for things like filling potholes. So really, manning the planes, manning the trains. And that's not something that they should be doing. That is not the purpose of the Mexican military.
So the military is the only body in Mexico to take on a cartels because the local cops and the state cops are all bribed. And, if they don't take the bribe, they kill them and their family. So if you're a cop and you don't take the money from the cartel, the local guy, he's going to kill you and your whole family and your kids. Okay, that's the way it goes. That's a narco state. Never going there again. Smart life. Okay. If you eat out, you're paying 30% more than you paid in 2019, according to the Labor Department. 30%. If you eat out, okay? Why? Because wages for hourly workers have risen in 22 states, and sometimes topping $20 an hour now, and the food is more expensive, okay, because of the Biden inflation. So you want to go out once in a while for a nice meal, a place that has good food, right? Here are some tips, smart life tips. Number one. Drink water. I'm sorry, if you want a few glasses of wine, have them at home. Drink before you go or when you come back. You order any beverage in a restaurant, you're going to pay a lot of money for it. I mean, just a soda is $5. Don't order a soda anyway because it's bad for you. Okay, number 2, instead of an entree, and I do this, and I'm a big guy, okay? I order 2 appetizers now, all right? And it usually fills me up. But the entrees are running $50, $60. And if you see, try it. See if it works. Some places give you big appetizers, a lot of food. If you go to the small plates, it's the biggest ripoff in the world. You're not going to get that. And finally, no dessert. Stop on your way home if you want dessert. But don't buy dessert in a restaurant. You're going to be crazy to do that. Tip 20%. But if you really want to be smart about it, you can order your food and take it home. So order exactly what you'd order in a restaurant, but you're going to take it out. Every restaurant does that now, and you don't have to tip. Then they'd give you want to leave a tip for a phone call? No, I'm not going to leave a tip for that. But when you're there, tip your server 20%. Smart life. Our freedom should never be taken for granted. They must be cherished, protected, and defended. When corporations pander to the liberal agenda, they must be punished. When corporations stand up for conservative values, they should be supported. This brings me to Freedom 2.0, the bottled water company that proudly represents us. They have hilarious sayings on each bottle like, "This water ain't woke," and "bottled with liberal tears." Use the code BILL for a 15% discount and subscribe to Freedom 2.0. We must never discount freedom, but we can discount water as long as you use the code BILL. Please visit freedom20.com to order now. That's freedom, the number 2, the letter O.com. Freedom20.com, use code BILL for 15% off. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation supports America's greatest heroes, U.S. service members, and first responders who gave their lives, those catastrophically injured in the line of duty, and homeless vets. The Foundation's Gold Star Fallen First Responder and Homeless Vet programs honor the sacrifices made by men who fought and died for us, and women who risked their lives for our country as well. The Foundation's Never Forget program engages people in 9/11 remembrances across America with more than 80 runs, walks, and dozens of golf outings every year. The Tunnel to Towers 9/11 Institute educates kids from kindergarten through 12th grade about America's darkest day while helping our nation keep its vow to never forget. So please support Tunnel to Towers. Donate $11 a month. Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. More than 95 cents of every dollar you donate to Tunnel to Towers goes to its programs. That's T, the number 2, another T.org. Okay, final thought of the day. We are asking you very politely to check out concierge membership on BillO'Reilly.com as an insurance policy for your life. We answer all kinds of questions, totally confidential. No one will ever know. You get an email directly to me, and within 24 hours, most of the time, we get right back to you. So I got an email from a guy in California. He said, "We've owned an oceanfront 3-bedroom Marriott timeshare on Maui for more than 16 years and now wish to sell it. You have any recommendations on how to best market the property?" Well, I do. And I gave this concierge member, because I have been to Maui 3 times. I know the island. I know how the commerce is conducted. So I think I gave this guy pretty good advice. And that's a big investment. And we can do that for you based upon my life experience. All right, so that's what concierge membership is all about. Thank you very much for watching and listening to the No Spin News. We'll see you on Monday. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.